Cholera. It's kind of bad, especially because it ends up drying you up and killing you. According to McNichol and Deutsch, the name cholera is actually very fitting, considering that some time back it meant to have a bout of vomiting or diarrhea. So what exactly is cholera? Cholera is an acute disease caused by the bacterium V. cholerae. This dude favors invading the small intestine of its host. This causes the small intestine to flood with water, and by consequence, the host suffers from severe and sudden watery diarrhea. This loss of fluids causes extreme dehydration, seizures, and if left for long enough, death. This dehydration is so severe that, according to Rito and Close, 20 liters of fluid is lost in adults. That's the size of a portable gasoline canister. It's not as if the disease has been wiped off the planet yet either. The disease mainly affects poorer, third world countries, killing approximately 91,000 people annually.
Record of cholera dates back to ancient civilizations such as in Greece, Arabia, and Rome, and in places where indoor plumbing didn't exist. In the early 19th century, Asia was crippled by the disease. As Britain was expanding and colonizing, Asia granted them a small welcoming gift: cholera. Britain was soon overcome by the disease and left a trail of death. Cholera moved through Great Britain quickly, moving from England to Liverpool, Manchester, and then eventually the rest of Europe. Scotland villagers reported a hovering yellow mist near the ground that was always associated with the disease being near. People were looking for a cause to the disease, but lack of understanding prevented that. However, a Canadian newspaper called the Toronto Evening News blamed the disease on the Jewish immigrants. In modern countries, the disease is rare and is quickly treated and cured. Although in countries associated with war and poverty, epidemics still rage. It is countries such as South Sudan, Mozambique, Somalia, and other places that simply can't afford medicine or clean water.
The treatment of cholera in early 19th century New York was rarely effective for those afflicted. Early treatments were also ineffective during the cholera epidemics of 1817 through 1823 and 1826 through 1837. The treatments of the time vary widely, but it was common practice to treat the patient in the first sign of disease. The patient was prescribed bed rest first and was then given herbal drinks. This ranges from spearmint to camphor julep, a concoction of vinegar, sugar, Arabic gum, and spirits.
If the patient did not respond to these treatments, which was highly likely, bloodletting was the next and most common treatment. It was believed that the letting of blood would relieve internal congestion in the body. 5 to 20 ounces were drained at a time. That's about a pint of blood every time they did it, which is an incredible strain on the body. In later stages, a large mustard cataplasm, which was a plaster-like substance, was spread on the chest of the patient. If this failed to work, more camphor and calomel, also known as mercury, was given to the patient. Calomel was given until the patient's gums bled, which we know today could not have helped.
Today, cholera has 3 main treatments, 2 of which combat the symptoms, and 1 that directly attacks the bacteria. The first, and the most alleviating of the treatments, is rehydration therapy. Proper rehydration is the most important way to treat cholera. Rehydration therapy is not just chugging water until you explode, it's taking oral rehydration salts and sipping it approximately every 1 minute until you're properly rehydrated. Every hour, the caregiver is assigned with assessing if whether or not the patient is still in a state of dehydration. In serious cases, the patient must be given intravenous fluids along with oral rehydration salts. The purpose of rehydration therapy is to replenish the large amount of water lost to diarrhea caused by the cholera bacteria. Zinc therapy is mostly used in child cases of cholera. This therapy consists of the patient orally taking zinc tablets with an average dose of 20 to 30 milligrams. According to the CDC, the therapy greatly reduces the amount of fluid loss by decreasing the amount of diarrheal stool by up to 10%. Ever since antibiotics have been used to treat cholera, tetracycline was the antibiotic doctors returned to first. Tetracycline works by attacking the ribosomes inside of cholera bacteria and attaching to them. By doing this, Tetracycline blocks the cholera's ability to continue protein biosynthesis. But due to widespread overusage of tetracycline and other antibiotics, many strains of cholera have begun to become resistant to it and have become superbugs. Superbugs are bacteria that are able to withstand most commonly used antibiotics, such as tetracycline. Deoxycycline is now currently the most commonly prescribed antibiotic. It is usually prescribed at 300 milligrams per dosage. Because its usage as a cholera treatment has only begun recently, most strains of cholera are not resistant to it. Because of this, more and more doctors are prescribing it, beginning cholera's resistance to more antibiotics all over again. Poor sanitation practices in highly populated areas due to contamination of drinking water, improper food preparation, or seafood products tend to be the source of cholera outbreaks. But where does contamination itself come from? That's right, human feces, something that should stay far away from the stuff we consume. Due to cholera's high virulence outside of the human body, it is easily spread and ingested.
Cholera has 3 major steps. When in a host, cholera goes into the intestines and colonizes. It then secretes the cholera toxin. This toxin causes the intestines to fill with water, leading to diarrhea. The disease has an incubation time of approximately 2 to 3 days. After the first signs of the disease, in as little as 12 hours, the host can die of hypotensive shock. The cholera toxin consists of 6 subunits. The B subunit consists of 5 of them. The B subunit binds while the A subunit activates the G protein, which activates adenylate cyclase, which is converted to cyclic AMP. This results in passive water loss, leading to a marked decrease in intravascular volume, hypotension, and hyperperfusion of critical organs, and in severe cases, death ensues with a high mortality rate. Overall, cholera sounds like it sucks, and thus it should remind you to never get it and stay healthy unless you die.